You're looking at a Piranha Fingerling Model 1 automatic knife. This is a super cool, lightweight and compact automatic everyday carry knife, EDC knife if you ask me. Really a nice execution on this blade. Like I've said in my other videos, I'm more leaning towards non-automatic, maybe assisted opening knives. I think if they're built right, you really don't need an automatic knife. In fact, it comes with a little bit of liability, whether you're talking about the legal variety or also the deployment problems that some automatic knives, not this one, but some automatic knives have, in the confusion between the pivot screw and the deployment button. Something you don't have to worry about generally if you're talking about an assisted opening knife or a fully manual action folder, whether it's hunting, tactical, or just a utility folder. However, if you want an automatic knife and you want to use one for everyday carry, this Fingerling Model 1 is an outstanding choice. I don't know why, but they could sell this knife in a manual action form, and then as soon as they turn into an automatic knife, generally most manufacturers tack on at least 50% more cost. Why is that? I mean, it's basically the same materials. The only difference is they put a coil spring in here and the deployment mechanism is a little bit different. So I just don't understand why they charge so much. I'm not talking about Piranha really, because I think Piranha automatic knives are actually fairly affordable. They do a really good job in keeping the cost down and keeping the quality high. I have two of them, this one, this Fingerling. I also have a Piranha Bodyguard that I like a lot. Let's look at that blade. Well, first let's talk about the deployment. Here's your deployment button on the Fingerling. And like I made an allusion to earlier, you don't have a pivot screw here to confuse yourself with the deployment button. There's just one button here. It's a deployment button, no pivot screw showing. So they designed it to be integral into the T6 alloy handle so you don't have that problem. Great job, Piranha. So when it deploys, by the way, that sucker comes out with authority. Hang on to this little knife because it's going to go flying if you don't. And that's how all auto knives should come out, with great authority. That nice authoritative pop. Man, it's just a nice fun knife to play with. And for being such a small knife, it just is so wickedly fast. And that brings us to the intrinsic fun quality of owning an auto knife. Granted, we can do the job with a non-auto knife. However, there's nothing like a cool automatic knife to impress your friends with, or just to fondle and play with. They're fun. Of course, a good manual action knife is just as fun. But I love a good automatic knife, obviously, because I've added this one to my collection. And I'm so anal, I just don't like any fingerprints on that beautiful blade. At least not while I'm filming. So, great deployment. Now, when I saw there wasn't a pivot screw here, I was like, well, no pivot screw. I wonder how the lockup is. I can't adjust it. It's either got to be right or I'm in trouble. Well, it doesn't have a pivot screw. There's no way to adjust the lockup, but fortunately, the lockup is very solid. There's no side-to-side play, and there's no up and down lateral play either. So good job on that, Piranha. For a small knife company, they put together some really cool knives. And as far as I know, they are limited in all their production. They don't just put out thousands upon thousands of knives. Which leads me to another point. If you find a knife like this that you like, and generally I'm referring to an automatic variety, you kind of need to move on it, because almost all of these knives are limited in their manufacturing, and they'll go bye-bye. And heck, even Benchmade's fall in that category. Now there's a few Benchmade's auto knives like the Mini Reflex 2550 that have been in production for a long time, just because they're so popular and they sell so well. However, the smaller companies like Piranha, they're limited, and they don't sell a ton of these knives. There's, fewer people can qualify for their purchase. They have to be law enforcement or military, supposedly, and they just don't produce a lot. Now this Model 1 Fingerling by Piranha is a limited edition. It was called, I believe, a Desert Camo. Now I have looked around, and there is a Desert Storm version. It has similar coloration on the aluminum handle. However, it doesn't have green in the handle. I did like the coloration of this, still do. And by the way, I don't really advertise by anybody, but I also won't hold back to tell you where I get my knives, especially when they're a good place. And a lot of my automatic knives I purchased from PVK. That's PapaVictorKilo.com. And Josh runs that site, and he does just a great job. I think he prices his knives fairly. He has excellent service. Anything you see on his website is in stock. It's not just a tease. And he carries super high quality knives like this Piranha, Microtex, Protex, and all the upper end ones. Even Dalton automatics are there. So and I did see the Desert Storm version of this knife today in July of 2008. Could be gone next month. Let's talk about the blade. You can see it's been glinting at us the whole time. That is a beautiful blade. It's mirror finished. You can see the camera right there looking right back at us. This is an ATS 34 stainless steel blade, 2.5 inches long, so it's small, everyday carry size. Nice utility shape on it with that clip, drop point clip design, which I think is super functional in an EDC roll. I don't like Warncliffe designs that are flat edged, kind of like the Leak, or any straight edge designs for EDCs. I think they're pretty much worthless. Almost always, about 80% of our cutting tasks on an EDC knife are going to be right here in the tip. We're going to be opening packages, maybe cutting food like this on a counter or something, hopefully a cutting board. When we cut cardboard, we'll work that middle portion more. So I like that sweep. For an EDC knife, I won't carry one that doesn't have it. It's got to have that Bowie look to it. So good job on the blade design. The ATS 34 has kind of fallen out of favor with a lot of knife makers. I don't really agree that it's a bad steel. I think it's probably on par with D2, except with its higher chromium content, it's going to be more stainless. I found in some other knives it holds an edge quite well, and it can come to a very fine hair popping edge as well. This knife, I did not reprofile it really. I did touch it up on steel and to make it just hair shaving sharp. Is where just like I want to keep all my knives. So the edge will come and stay relatively, not relative, but super sharp. And it's such a beautiful mirror finish. That's another benefit of ATS 34 versus maybe some other steels. I'm not sure about 154 CM or CM 154 D2, but ATS 34 takes a nice mirror polish, as you can see, and it's just gorgeous. So the blade is just the right thickness. It's not too thick, not too thin, adequately strong tip. Again, that tight lockup. How about the handle? Well, the handle is a little bit on the thick side, I would say. It's made of T6 aluminum alloy. However, it's comfortable. Remember, this is a tiny EDC auto knife, so it's not going to have a lot of real estate for you to put your hands on. But it's rounded, it has rounded edges, nice scalloping in the side, and a nice deep choil for the index finger, so it's decent. No jimping on the top, wish they had done that. Not a flow-through design, but few automatic, actually no automatic knives I've seen are. Nice thick scales. I would like it to be a little bit thinner. However, it's not a heavy knife, it's relatively light, just 2 ounces, actually about 2.2 ounces this one. Real lightweight, easy to carry. There's your lanyard hole. Nice deep clip, stonewash finish, great job on that. Wish it was mounted higher. Sound familiar? But it's still adequate and it's very strong, really locks it into the pants tightly. However, this is a $100 automatic knife, and even though I carried this for a year, I finally got to the point I was afraid I was going to lose it. And so I upgraded to my ever faithful, maybe downgrade would be the right word, to my Flash 1. Notice the handle shapes are very similar between these two knives. But the Flash 1 still wins in my opinion for EDC because it's a lighter weight knife, same blade design, equally as fast, a little bit thinner. However, it's more of a utility knife, and it does not have the cool factor that the Fingerling Model 1 does. You can get this in a Model 2 with a 3.2 inch blade. I would love to add one of those to my collections later on. But this is a Fingerling Model 1 in desert camo. Beautiful automatic EDC knife. Impress your friends if you want to with your EDC.